exclusive tag on
Tommy
thousands
G.
of hotels.
What's good? What's good? Yo, my hat is just. Jesus.
There's a lot of murders that haven't been solved. A lot of people have been out here and they never find anybody who did it.
Police shooting in the valley. By our count, it is the 28th time this year. We know the FBI is also involved in this case since it's on Gila River Indian community land.
Where's this at? So I know where to stay away from.
For white boys like me, native reservations are hard places to access, and understandably so. Because I understand history, it makes sense why Native Americans can be closed off, resentful, and even downright hostile towards white folks. After all, many tribes have a similar story. European immigrants landed on their shores, starving and close to death, and many natives offered their help to help these pilgrims survive. In fact, our national holiday of Thanksgiving celebrates this very hospitality. Now, I know I simplified the beginning between the two groups, but what eventually followed were things like enslavement, frequent bloody battles, natives getting pushed from the land they had known for centuries, and smallpox wiping out 90% of the native population. Now, this isn't to say that the original Americans would have lived in some paradise world if it wasn't for the European settlers. The truth is, many tribes warred with each other, massacred each other, they massacred many settlers, and native warriors had some ugly
That shit was going
like
on
scalping their
before.
enemies. You see, no matter the conflict, things can get ugly when there are battles over resources, personal freedom, and valuable territory. It's just how humans are. But all things considered, Indians got the sharp end of the stick when dealing with the Europeans. They experienced
niggas like they say, oh, we're celebrating a holiday where the white folks took over and all that. Yeah, that might be true, but like that war shit, like that was like way worse before them niggas came over here, bro.
At the hands of
Like,
people
that
like
shit
Christopher
was-
Columbus and
was
Andrew
pretty
Jackson.
bad.
But more on this later. We don't have time for me to ramble about history all day, so let's get into the people that we are meeting today. In this episode, we
Like
dive
cutting
into the
up
Gila River
bodies
Reservation and see
all
what
that-
life is
all that
like for
type
the
of
people
shit.
from the Pima and Maricopa tribes. These people have had their fair share of battles ranging from water right disputes with the U.S. government to fighting things in the community like obesity and drug addiction. But they've also triumphed on major levels. They've scored massive
Don't
infrastructure
look like they
deals with
won
the
against,
government, as well as had fantastic success with their casinos.
obesity.
Enough of the talk for now. Let's get into the episode. In the first part of this journey, we are welcomed into the home of Grandma Sandra, a town staple who cooks for us and tells us about the culture and community. Here we go.
I'm Tommy.
Sandy,
Nice to meet you. What land are we on right now?
we're on the Gila River.
Can you tell me any of the history of this place?
Gila
The
River.
Pima is called Acamil Autumn. That's the name of our
Acamil
people. And
Autumn.
we've been here from the very beginning. In fact, our land is in Phoenix, the whole area of Phoenix. We're related to the Hohokam tribe. The white
Hohokam?
folks came, all the tribes got put on reservations. And this is our reservation that we have now.
I'm going to give everyone their first reading assignment so far on the channel. There's a book called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee that everyone should read.
Imagine for a moment that the Chinese began taking over America and that the way they made peace with us was by forcing us to sign treaties that removed us from the wonderful land we grew up on and forced
My
us to
nigga,
move
if
to
I
the
look
shitty-
up, if I walk outside one day and look up and I see like 100 airplanes and they're dropping shit, bruh.
areas they could find, places
I don't
where
know
crops can
what
barely
the
grow
fuck
and the
I'ma do,
resources
bruh.
are slim. And
I
on
don't know
top
what
of
I'ma
that,
do,
the
bruh.
minor concessions they did offer to us in the treaties, shortly after, they would
Like,
break
that
their
shit
word
is
and go
like-
back on their promise. Let's take the Sioux people in Nebraska, for example. Once the U.S. government found out that the land that they stayed on had valuable
crazy.
gold mines, they again pushed them to a new and even shittier parcel of land. This is what tribes across the country experienced in their dealings with the U.S. government over the mid-1800s. To best understand the treachery of this period, I recommend you read the book Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. I read this book in college and what I learned has stuck with me ever since. This book is linked in my description.
We get free health, well, in this state. I lived in Virginia, and they don't have it there. And they might now, but my family has land here. We cause any problems, we could get kicked off our reservation. The casinos brought in a lot of money for us.
How does that work? Does every person that lives here have a share in the casino? Because I've been in Seminole country where I think it's over 18, all of the kids get a certain monthly sum from the casino.
Yes, ours is every 3 months, and when they turn 18, they'll get their money.
Are there any benefits or perks living in the tribe? Like you were saying, free health care?
Well, this tribe here helps you pay your electricity. We don't pay water bill. We don't pay rent. We don't get taxed for our land.
Let's talk about free housing in this area. From what I understand, when a tribal member comes of age, they will be built a house free of charge, and the size of the house will depend on how big their family is. Additionally, upon turning 18, this person will also receive a lump sum of between $50,000 and $100,000 to kickstart their adult life. And for supplemental income for everyone on the Gila River Reservation, children and adults, they each receive a quarterly stipend ranging from $350 to $650. Now, this country has had a long-standing debate if these practices help or hurt a community. You guys tell me what you think in the comments.
We're having our Thanksgiving dinner right now, too.
Both.
Is that a complicated holiday to celebrate?
You know, I grew up in foster care, and I never knew none of my family until I turned 25. When I turned 25, I came to look for my family. I found my mom and my dad. My mother's from here, the tribe, and my dad's from the Tohono tribe. And when I found out about that, I was so happy, and both tribes accepted me without no doubt. I never grew up here, but I've been living here now for over like 40 years, 45 years.
Yeah, you stand there.
I did get to meet my mom, but I never got to meet my father. You could only pick one tribe to be enrolled in, and I picked my father's side because I never got to meet him, and I wanted something from him, and so I picked that tribe. But I've always lived on this tribe, in the Pima tribe.
Something Extra was telling us in the car that I wanted to ask you about is that there's kind of myth or rumors of spirits in the mountains or portals. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of anyone going missing or like talking to the mountain spirits and bad things happen?
One of my uncles, he does go up there a lot. And
We got so deep in the history, I forgot what the video was really about. Thank you, Tommy G.
different things, like he gets the clay from the mountain and he makes it on.
The symbol of the guy with the flute, that is the fertility god, isn't it? It worked for me, folks. Within 1 week of trying with my wife, we got pregnant. How would you describe this place to someone that's never been here before?
They still go by the old ways, you know. Some people still cook with wood, but now they're building houses for the people out here, so they're getting new houses. They're still building houses now from the casino, you know.
The casino money flows through.
Yeah.
How do you feel about our government?
I think they're kind of crooked, you know. They take a lot of money from us. The casino is built on our land. We built it, but they still tax us. You know, a lot of people out here, they're either on drugs or drinking, you know, because they don't have no kind of income, nowhere to go.
What percent of people you think have a drug issue around here?
80% maybe.
That's high. Is there a good hospital or is there a good amount of medical staff in the area that help with people?
Yeah, they got a drug rehab out here, but you know, very few people go through it.
On the 24th, I have 24 years of sobriety.
Wow.
For about 18 years, I did the Kamake AANA group here in our district. That's why I never grew up here on the reservation, because my mom and my dad were both alcoholics and they couldn't take care of me. And so I grew up in foster care. It's been awful.
Why is it you think that alcohol is such a strong pull here?
People can't figure out how to be happy being clean and sober. And we're all related. If we look at it that way, we'll all get along.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I need a guitar again.
About how long do you go on each side?
Really fast, a minute, not even a minute. As soon as this grease is
Oh,
hot,
yeah, I
it
don't know
gets
about
it
that.
fast.
Kind of like a thick tortilla almost.
Yeah, so this is my
Like a
dough.
fluffy
This
tortilla.
is the flower most natives use, the bluebird. I'm trying to teach my family, my girls, or anybody who wants to, know how to do it so they can carry it on.
People be shooting, people be trying to break into the shit.
So there's a lot of banders around here?
Oh, hell yeah. See, this is probably the security right here.
He look like the main one getting into that
Someone just
shit.
carted a toilet right now. If I had to shit and I came across that, I'd be disappointed. People go up there. People climb all the way up there?
Yeah. Have you been up there?
No, I haven't been up there.
I'm kind of scared of heights.
Yeah, I'm scared of heights too. They say some owls be shapeshifters.
Basically, it's an old human spirit or something?
Yeah, this used to be her little owl house. I mean, this is where they used to sell fried bread.
What happened?
Shit, just time, people getting locked up. She didn't really have much people to help her, so this is what's left of it now. I hear the dust storm comes, it just comes right over that mountain, everything.
Well, I be hearing about that shit.
It can come whenever.
Is there usually like one good dust storm a year?
Yeah, it's a couple.
That's the red chili?
And pulled pork?
No, this is beef.
This is over 100 years old.
Yes.
How long do you think this took to make?
Oh, probably a long time.
Days?
Yes.
These are also over 100
They're
years old.
They're old too.
There's something special about handmade.
Okay, here's your
Yes.
sandwiches. The Navajo
Yes.
taco, all the tribes make that, and it's just beans, hamburger, cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and that's a.
Those are good. Thank you. This is gonna be such a gringo question, but I don't eat the husk, right?
No, you can if you want.
I didn't mean to
No,
embarrass
we don't.
myself, but
I saw somebody eat.
yeah, good. We'll grab a
Eat the
sandwich.
husk
Fill
too,
our
like,
bellies. We
that's-
appreciate you for that.
Like, you gotta be a strong man to do that.
They blocked off the playground. Why do they do that?
Cause there'd be a lot of kids, these motherfuckers go hang out right there and then they just be crazy.
Are these abandos? Are people
There's a
living?
bando right here, look.
Do you think anyone's living in there?
Probably.
Hell yeah.
So are there gang affiliations around here?
Yeah, it's by zones. I think this is zone 6. People around here be like, man, I couldn't find no pills, so I started smoking meth. And like, what the fuck?
Has Fetty Wap made its way over here?
Oh yeah.
We're in the circles, which is called the projects. This is mostly where everybody lives, I guess. Back in the day, there was a lot of gangs out here. There's still gangs out here now. Back in the day, it was pretty crazy.
You grew up around here?
Yeah, I grew up over here. There was just a lot of shootings, a lot of people dying from shootings, you know. The airbag was out here a lot. There's still gangs out here now, but they're a lot younger, you know.
What's the relationship with
Y'all ain't got no guidance.
They don't really do their
They don't
job
know what they
around
doing,
here.
type shit.
There's a lot of murders that haven't been solved. A lot of people have been out here and they never find anybody who did it.
Is this a place where people feel comfortable to call the police when something goes down?
Not so much, I guess. It's a small community, so people know people, and they'll know if you call the police on them.
Is there anything you can tell the people about the circles?
Don't come through here at night. If you don't know nobody, it's really dark around here. Yeah, there's a police station right there. That's the only cops and the rest.
But this has been here for ages. This was an old boarding school. Back in the day, my mom was in a boarding school here. She was small all the way to 13 when she came out of the boarding school. She don't really talk about it. I asked her, she just gets quiet, so. And they did a lot of, you know, the molesting and all that. Some kids died, you know, in their hands.
It's crazy how much child molestation the Catholic Church has gotten away with.
Yeah.
We have got to talk about Indian boarding schools. These places were awful. In 1819, the Civilization Fund Act was passed with the intent to civilize natives and assimilate them to Anglo-Saxon culture. The stated purpose of this act was to kill the Indian and save the man. And in doing so, a few hundred schools were created and ran by the Catholics and other Christian denominations. Hundreds of thousands of kids were forcibly removed from their home, and in the loving name of Jesus, these Christian schools doled out beatings, forced labor, sexual abuse, and a complete crushing of native culture to these kids. With rulers, whips, and sticks as their tools of choice, nuns relentlessly played whack-a-mole on their native students. And if hell exists, these nuns are certainly there, and I hope Satan is playing whack-a-mole on them. And if this imagery isn't enough to infuriate you, imagine if the Taliban took over your town, took you from your parents, and beat the dog shit out of you at their schools until you converted to their version of Islam. That would be insane, and that's what this was like. And folks, I'm proud to be an American, 100%, but it's undeniable that we have some despicably ugly chapters of our past, and the best way to avoid making similar mistakes in the future is to study and learn from history.
What does religion mean to you?
Just going to
Facts.
church, you know, going by the Bible.
I feel
really
like-
good.
I feel
My
like
mom would bring us out
5
here on the weekends and during the summer. So
5,
like, I went to church
15 years from now,
a lot. I didn't
like,
really
all
come
this
to
shit
church out
ain't
here,
gonna
just
matter,
when
bro.
I got older,
All this shit
came
ain't
to
gonna
church
matter.
out here.
I noticed you're wearing the Blackhawk hockey team.
Yeah.
What do you think when a professional sports team has a Native American as their logo?
I don't really have a problem with it, but a lot of natives do.
Could you imagine if they made a football team called the Whiteskins?
Oh yeah, the Redskin
That's
shit.
the man in the maze. That's the Pima's symbol.
That's a good symbol for life.
Yeah.
'Cause I think we all feel pretty lost throughout life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you know what you're going, but for the most part, it's like, where the hell am I, right? So Grandma's taking us in the mountains right now. She wants to show us some things.
Stolen cars from town come out here and dump stuff over here.
What?
There's been a lot of bodies found, not here, but over in another section of the res.
This was now the third person that had mentioned something about people going missing and bodies being discovered at the reservation. In fact, a Google search will tell you that another body was found on the Gila River Reservation as recently as January of this year. And if you take a closer look at this trend, you'll discover that bodies have been discovered on reservations in Montana, Wisconsin, New Jersey, all in the early months of 2024. I even got a DM in January about this happening on a reservation in Winnipeg, Canada. It's worrisome how many women on reservations go missing or end up murdered. A study from 2008 showed that Native women get murdered at a rate that's 10 times higher than what's usual across the country. What's more, most of these cases don't even make it into the Department of Justice's missing person list. And get this, murder is the third most common way that Native women die, even more so than strokes, liver problems, or diabetes. So it begs the question, why is this happening? And from what I can gather, there are two main factors. Number one, local law enforcement does not have jurisdiction to police a Native reservation. Instead, the reservation has its own police force regulated by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. For some killers, reservations are opportunistic places where they feel they have a better chance of getting away with their crimes. Combine that with the fact that natives overall tend to not want to talk or cooperate with police, and you find yourself in an environment where murders are really hard to solve.
Myself, I used to come up here, drive all the way up there. There's a road you can take, but it's been a long time. And I had a four-wheel drive truck, and I used to go up there and party up there, drinking and get high and all that.
Yeah. How far is it off-road?
Far. It goes all the way to Mexico. There's the back road. They used to go deliver drugs.
Really?
Back in, yeah.
Grandma's starting to take us on a crazy adventure. Bodies, stolen car, trafficking to Mexico.
What the
Grandma?
Oh no, you might
I wanna be out here.
see some damn cartel over there, bro. Oh, she's stuck.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Jesus.
I mean, you can go, just go
Sorry to say I'm
fast.
not as tough as you are. I got a little scared when you were hitting those trails. I thought I was gonna get stuck. I want to hear more about the bodies because you just casually said that, and I feel like I want to touch on that a little bit more.
A lot of people come from Phoenix, and because we're so far out here, and there's nothing over here. I mean, you know, so people come and dump bodies here.
You can tell this is a drinking town. Look at this. This is 30, 40 feet off the road, and still, like, it just shines. The road is shining. Yeah, this is definitely.
What if the promise of better work wasn't just something we dreamed about, but something
a drinking town.
Next, we make a stop at Big Mike's house. He's a religious leader, he has a sweat lodge set up in his own backyard, and he has stories for days. Let's knock on his door and see what he has to say.
This is Big Mike's house. We're heading towards his sweat lodge. He's helped me a lot. We fought against the Interstate 202 now.
And why didn't people want it here?
And we like natural. All natives like that. It's not on our land. It's on the other side. But it might as well be. It's right there. Right on the border of our tribe. They even cut the mountain. That was our sacred mountain where we go and pray and stuff.
I read that 50% of people around here have diabetes. Is that something that you're familiar with?
Yes,
or that?
Yes, it's real bad here. We weren't allowed to do our traditional ways. We had to learn to be like them.
Is there still a long-standing resentment towards Europeans or white culture?
Yes, of course. The people that had to live through it, they know.
I think it's more horrible than people could imagine. I don't think people know history that well, but if people do their digging and they research how awful it was.
How America was, we weren't free to roam like we should have been. It was been taken.
Good evening. Manchugim Tashquint. Winimishki Chugim with Michael. Good evening. My name is Michael Tashquint. My traditional last name is from my great-grandfather, Tashquint. I'm here in the village of Komot. Southwest is what they call the Australian Mountains, but to us we call it Komot Doak. Komot Doak means thick mountain.
You got 28 years sobriety.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What made you start that journey?
93, I lost my brother up the road here. He got hit. We were going up to go get some more beer and everything like that. We're coming back, and we were just coming up the road here. Just on the other side, there were those houses on that side began. This people hit a horse. You know, the woman, you could see where she hit the windshield. Her face is all bloody. As we were going by, the door on the driver's side was open, and there was a guy laying on. So I told my cousin, you know, pull up behind him. They pulled up behind. My brother already jumped out, and he ran over there. Just when I got out, I heard my brother go to the other side, and he was checking on the woman. And I heard my cousin yelling out, "Chris, look out, there's a car coming, there's a car coming." And then next thing I know, my brother was standing with the door here, and he was waving his hands like this. Well, they missed the car, but they hit him right there, and they just went over him and everything like that. I got out of the back seat of the car, and I just turned and I looked, and I seen him get hit his head, and brains, blood, and everything like that. And I was over him like this. I was laying on top of him like this, and I kept telling him, you know, don't leave me. Don't leave me. I need you. You're the one that's holding my leash. My brother was the guy more or less controlled me. If I was going to kick somebody's ass, he would say, go kick their ass. And I say, really? And I go over there and kick their ass. I ended up getting deep into drugs. I didn't give a shit about it anymore. The final point came was that one night, I guess we were sitting there drinking and everything like that. And I was sitting there rolling up joints, sprinkling with coke. Like that, and rolling them up, getting ready to smoke. And after that, I got sick. I mean, I almost died. And that's what kind of snapped me out of it. Whatever happened to me. My dad, my brother came. I remember going in. I mean, you know how the lights are on top of us? And I remember looking up like that and watching like that. And I just seen him going, choo, 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 choo. And that's, I was out. So I just woke up and I said, what the hell? And then the nurse came around and she goes, oh, you're awake. You're back. I said, what? And then she goes, you know, what day is this? I said, Wednesday evening. And she looked at me, she goes, no. She goes, this is Saturday evening. You've been out for the past 3 days. Your family's about ready to bring in the priest to give you last rites because you weren't going to make it. I said, what? She goes, yeah, you're about ready to die. I remember I started walking and I was going in something like gray. It was
You're too calm about this story, though.
And all of a sudden, out of this side, I seen this black figure come out like that, you know. And I heard my brother start laughing. He goes, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. It's not your time. There's the other side. I seen another figure on this side. My dad, I heard his voice. This is not your time, he said. You need to go back. Come on, we'll take you back. And as they were coming back, they started telling me about sobering up, changing my life, doing the things I needed to do. Woke up, and that's when I woke up in the hospital. And so after that, that's when I decided I got to quit. So they took me and sent me down to chemo, and that's when I found out I had PTSD.
It feels like this world is losing its soul and losing its culture a little bit. Can you speak to that from your lens?
I can understand that, and I know what you're talking about because our young kids, they're not picking it up. They don't know too much about the history and the culture of our people, especially grandparents that went to boarding school. In the boarding schools, they were stripped of their identity, their hair was cut, they were forbidden to speak the language. A lot of elders are embarrassed or ashamed to speak the language to their children and tell them the stories and all of that. Growing up here, my family made me understand who I am. They made me speak English first. When I asked them, why'd you teach me English first? They said, because if you learn Pima, it would be hard for you to learn English. And from there, my grandparents and family helped, you know, raise me and teach me my traditions. So trying to keep that up to the kids now. A lot of kids, they just don't know.
White man society. What comes to mind when you think of that phrase?
The coming of the Europeans, from the Spanish coming through the islands, Puerto Rico, you know, Cuba, from there establishing their ports and everything like that, and then from there coming across to Mexico, to South America, enslaving the indigenous people, all for gold, silver, and land, and everything else like that. Then again, too, the Europeans, the French, the English. The Dutch, they say, were the only people that kind of took care of the native peoples. But when you look into the history of the English, Spanish, and the French, they stole, they conquered, they lied, they paid for the bounties of scalps, all of them, Spanish, French, English, women, children, elders. Thing about the border, they talk about all the people that are from Mexico and all that way. Those are indigenous people, even the Mexicans. That's not the right word for Mexico. It's Mexica. That's the thing about the white man's society, the Europeans coming here and just trying to make us and totally assimilate us.
What are some spiritual beliefs of this land?
When the son married, he brought his wife home. If the sister married, she married out of the family.
What are the biggest challenges facing this community?
We're doing good.
Wait, what was that? I'm learning.
The white man's society, the Europeans coming here and just trying to make us and totally assimilate us.
What are some spiritual beliefs of this land?
When the son married, he brought his wife home. If the sister married, she married out of the family.
What are the
Oh,
biggest
yeah, that makes
challenges
sense.
facing this community?
We're doing good. I can't
makes
really
sense.
say anything wrong or anything bad. Through the casino revenues, the tribe is taken care of. There's money through the gaming compact that goes to all 7 districts here. That money helps take care of it, you know.
What kind of benefits do tribal members receive from the casino?
Nothing really from the casino. The only thing you get is just the per cap that we get every month. I mean, every 4 months, every quarterly. But like I was saying,
Is it the same for everybody, or does it change by age, or how do they
No,
figure
it's
out?
the same. It's the same. It's set at one set amount, but it's different. Each quarterly is different, depending on what these casinos make. My first house, my mom and dad built
So
themselves.
if their money go
Second
down,
house,
their
the
monthly
built that for me. Then this one, the
monthly
tribe built that.
shit's gonna go down.
And again, it's in the gaming compact that
Kinda
homes are
fucked up.
supposed to be provided for all enrolled tribal members.
Final thoughts you have, or anything you would like to say to the audience out there?
I just turned 70. I go to the gym all the time. I wanted to do with my wife to go in there and put it on our Facebook. Here I am, my birthday, 70 years old, still working out, you know. Come on in and come work out with me. Diabetes is a very, very high thing here on my reservation.
From what I saw with the numbers, it's over half.
Yeah. At one time, I was like close to 800 pounds. Right now, I'm probably bouncing between 320 and 290 maybe. Since you're finishing
good.
up and you're getting ready to go home, this is called the Going Home song. Hey, dog him.
And with that, folks, thank you for joining us on this adventure. We'll see you next week.
Hey, dog him. Hey,
I'm about to say, is that the full song? Did it just get copyrighted?
Go him. Skug with the nya wum. Gum go ya go him. Hey, dog him. Hey,
Fuck that shirt,
dog him. Hey, dog him. Gum go ya go him. Skug with.
Folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. You want to watch
Look at
another?
Doggy.
Here. You want to
You got
subscribe?
that. You got
Over
that
here.
rocket close to
See
his
you next
face, though.
week.
About that.